So we are continuing with Istola Musa MaCele no Musa back in the day when they were planning their future. But let me say this, you guys. If we have to tell you that we are being sarcastic on this channel and we have to tell you that we are playing around and all of that, you are not of this channel. The family already knows, okay? So, you guys, so Musa MaCele came back to MaCele and was like, listen, okay, because let me tell you, I have a plan. Sit down, let me cook, okay? I have a plan that can get you everything that you want, okay? I can make your dreams come true. You just have to let me take its time, okay? I can give you the house you want, the cars you want, the vacations. You will live like a princess. No. In fact, you won't live like a princess. You would live like a queen. They will serve you everything that you want, and you won't have to work, and I will get my 20 kids, and you just have to do a few things here and there and pull a few strings here and there. You will get the suburbs, you will get the cars, and you won't have to work, okay? And MaCele was interested, and she took a seat in her couch, Mzumbe, and she said, cook, my husband, cook. Let me listen to my husband, Izanazo Babak, okay? So Ubabak started, and he was like, listen, okay, let me take a couple of wives, okay? And this is how this is going to work. I am going to make sure that I take beautiful wives who are driven and hard working. I'm going to make sure that I take the kind of wives that like beautiful things, okay? And you know I'm good looking, okay? And you know that I know how to present myself as a man that has money and that is rich. So it's not going to be hard for me to convince a few women to want to marry me, okay? Because women like marrying men that look like they have money. But once they come in and they can see that the finances don't look like they thought, they are going to want to keep up with the facade, okay? So what they were gonna want to do is work hard so that they can keep up with what the public think about this family. And the way that they are going to do that is working hard. And the more that they work hard, the more that we get more for this family, okay? And MaCele is like, listen, you are not convincing me. Yagwazi wena baba uthanda iketi. Usofuna ukuletha intombi zakho ke like her. You want to bring your girlfriends la? I never. It's like, I told you to let me cook, okay? Let me bring the wives, okay? So when they come in, we will make sure, Uguti, you know, each of them have their own houses, okay? They will have their own houses, and each of them will make sure that they get as beautiful a house as they want. But we will make sure that all of that happens here in Mzumbe, because we are trying to make sure that Gogo Flow has a home, because remember, we want to make sure that Mzumbe is well taken care of. And get to remember, Pela, we want to make sure that we have a home, okay? So all of these wives, when we bring them, we'll make sure that we bring them here, okay? So we'll make sure that every single one of them has a house here. But remember, even if it's their house here, but it's still here in our homestead, it's in the homestead of Gogo Flow. So even if one day they decide what they are living, they can never take those houses with them, because those houses will be here in the homestead Gogo Flow. You see my pot is cooking now, and MaCele is like, yeah, it's cooking, but I don't see where it's going. Yes. Now, once they are here, we will make sure that they can see the need for them to work, because now if there is 4 or 5 wives, there is 4 or 5 households, and 4 or 5 households that need to be financially provided for. Me as a man, I'm going to be working, making sure that they can see me making every effort to feed everybody, to clothe everybody, to make sure that everybody is sheltered. But because they love me, they're going to want to help me. And what's going to happen when they want to help me? They are going to, bafinqe imikhono, bahambe bayosebenza. And trust me, before we know it, they are going to be working even harder than me, and they're going to be making even more money than me. When they make money, I make money. And when I make money, you make money. And trust me, you won't have to work, because when they make money, they can take care of themselves. And when they make money, I make money. And when I make money, I will take care of you. And believe me, you won't have to lift a finger, because I will make sure that they understand that the reason that they are here is because you approved for them to come in. So every time I will make sure that they remember that the reason that they were able to come in and become my wives is because you said yes. So now and then I will remind them ukuthi ukuba uMaCele akavumanga ukuthi ningene ngabe aningenanga. So I will make sure that they have that appreciation for you. So now and then they will be throwing you the parties. They will make sure that they appreciate you. By the time that they see what you are part of the scheme, it will be too late. They would have given you the life of your dreams. Then MaCele is sitting there being like, uyazi myeni wami, you are on to something. So tell me, who are we going to target when it comes to these wives that we are going to bring in? And then MaCele is like, now, that is the interesting part, because I already have a few of these women lined up, okay? And then it's like, listen, okay, don't be upset, okay? Don't get upset, because I'm already dating some of these women. Okay, before I got together with you, there was this other woman. Okay, and in fact, that one, it might take time to convince her, because I didn't tell her that I was marrying you. So she actually got a shock of her life that I was married to you already. So while I'm working on convincing her to come back and join us, and I know that one is a hard worker, I know she's not going to want to stay at home. I know she's not going to want to be a stay-at-home mom. So while I'm convincing her to come back and join us, there is another one that I know that I'm already dating, that is already working and already has a house in the suburbs. That one is a really good candidate. Okay, I'm not sure if that one is going to be easily convinced to go stay in Mzumbe, but she is a good candidate because she's a hard worker and already lives in the suburbs. Okay, so let me work on that one. Okay, maybe we can have that one as the second wife while I work on that one that I used to see before I dated you. Then in the meantime, there is this young one that I think is a very good candidate to lead the project of all of the wives that are going to live in Mzumbe, because she is young, she is impressionable, and we can groom her very easily to lead the project back in Mzumbe, to build the houses for all of the wives that will be easy to convince to live in Mzumbe. That one is going to be easy because she is young and is going to be very excited about ukugana kaMaCele. And then MaCele is sitting there and thinking, okay, I hear the one that you are saying is already in the suburbs, okay? I don't know if I like that one, but okay, let me think about it. And I can hear the one that you are saying used to date you. I don't like that story, but I see where you are going with this one. But this young one, I have questions about her age. Are you sure we are not going to get the call from the police? Where does she stay? And then Musa MaCele is like, ish, that's a tricky part, because this one stays right here in the neighbors. And MaCele was like, what? Uyagula yini khanda? Now when like, no, I said, let me cook. MaCele was like, listen, your plan was going well until you talk about the child from the neighbors, not the child from the neighbors. Listen, you can do all of that, honey, but the child from the neighbors, no, 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 no. Like, listen, okay, listen. MaCele was like, listen, Babake, I approve of everything, but not the child from the neighbors. Do everything that you talked about, but not the child from the neighbors, okay? But here are my conditions, okay? Before you bring your wives here in Mzumbe, okay, I want my house at the sea park, okay? Buy me a house at sea park first. Then you can bring your wives over here. But even if you do that, I do not want the ngane of the neighbors. Do you understand me? Okay, take any wife that you want, but the child from the neighbor, not ngane eskupu, honey. No. I approve of any wife that you want, but not ngane eskupu. Okay, yes. So now MaCele was like, okay, you said also you had conditions for me. So what conditions do you have for me if I say yes to these shenanigans of yours? Okay. And then MaCele was like, okay, here are my conditions. You just have to play this wife that does not like this plan. Okay, so you have to pretend that you don't like any of these wives and you don't like this plan. Every time a wife is coming in, you have to throw a tantrum, honey. Just be throwing a tantrum. You don't like the wife, you don't like them coming in, and you know, and then after they are in, just go and relax at your wife and say pack. And then MaCele is like, okay, that's not very difficult. Do I have to take some acting classes? And then it's like, I don't think so. But listen, if you need them, we can pay for them, honey, because this is a big project we are about to embark on. Okay. And then MaCele was like, so what happens, because you say that you are going to take wives that are hardworking and these wives are going to live Mzumbe. Then what happens, because these wives are going to work hard? Yes, they are going to have beautiful houses Mzumbe. But what happens when they now decide they don't no longer want to stay Mzumbe? Because most of the women, when they start making it in life, they don't want to stay there by Mzumbe. What happens? And then he's like, now that's when the next phase of the project will come in. He's like, what next phase? He's like, then when those wives, because Pela, I'm going to take women that I love. So it's okay if they decide they no longer want to stay in Mzumbe. Okay. So when they decide that they no longer want to stay in Mzumbe, I will allow them to buy themselves houses, because remember, these are driven, hardworking women who will have their own money. So once they decide that they no longer want to stay in Mzumbe, I will allow them to buy their own houses wherever they want to buy themselves their own houses. But since this is going to be the next phase of the project, we are going to have to now start taking the new batch of wives. The new batch of wives now will have to go stay in Mzumbe, because now we can't leave Gogo Flo's, yard ends. So we now have to take a new batch of wives, like younger wives, that will go occupy the houses at Mzumbe, And now the same thing would happen where after they stay in Mzumbe, they will realize that the finances are not as financing as they thought, and they will start working hard. And after they work hard and they make their own money, they will want to move to the suburbs. And then the same will happen. They buy themselves their own houses in the suburbs, and then the cycle begins. And then MaCele started thinking, uyazi abantu bahlale bethi mina ngigana isilima sendoda abakwazi ukuthi uhlakaniphe kanjena wena MaCeleka. And then MaCele wahleka yena abangazi nkosikazi. And MaCele was like, you know what, babaki, yazi ngiswele istempu nje esibhala ukuthi approved, but I approve of this plan. Now please pay for my acting classes, because I have to do a lot of acting here in this plan of yours. And MaCele was like, listen, anything for you, honey, anything for you. And since then, we have been seeing MaCele act since season 1 of Uthando Nesithembu. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please like it before gonna share it with your friends, with your family, and even with strangers. Ngiyithanda kakhulu.